Welcome to the Talkin Kop. We are here, Kev, Chris, and myself, to talk through what was nearly a win for Liverpool, but ended up being a really fucking shitty point. We just came back from watching the draw with Leeds. It ended up 3-3 at Elland Road, and you know, the tale of two halves is what we sometimes talk about. This was a tale of 75 minutes and a complete and utter fucking shit show for the last 15, 20 minutes. So we're going to talk about it kind of in two parts like that. We're going to talk about some of the positives, which I know people in the chat are going to be like, there's no positives. We're going to talk about a few of them. And then we're going to talk about all of the shit that happened afterwards. We're going to talk about the team collapse. We're going to talk about Ibu, all the things. We will get there. We promise all of the grievances will be aired. But let's just talk about how we're feeling right now off the bat. Kev, I'm going to come to you first.
Frustrated, disappointed, annoyed, really fucking frustrated though. It's 70 minutes. That was a really good, solid away performance. Defensively, really solid, especially in the first half. Saw it the first 5 minutes. We were really defensively in a good shape. Handled everything they threw at us for 65 minutes very comfortably. Dominic Calvert-Lewin won a few headers, but in the main, we were really solid. The implosion. The implosion is frustrating. And I'll tell you what, if you had our luck, you wouldn't leave the house. You wouldn't leave the house unless you were wrapped up in fucking bubble wrap. For the luck that we have at the minute, and you can call it what you like. Decision making, a lot of it is down to fucking luck and split seconds, and it's annoying to say the least. Still a point, but when you're 2-0 up and 3-2 up, you need to be seeing that out. And I can imagine the manager getting Kop left, right, and centre, but he doesn't cross the line with 20 minutes to go. You know what I mean? It's like the changes he made were probably changes that the vast majority of people would make. They worked their fucking socks off, Leeds did, and they got themselves back into it from 2-0 down. But I think, Chris, you made a point before we came on there. There's a lot of the things around when you're watching us at the minute around the Brendan Rodgers side, where no matter how many goals ahead you are, you're never safe in a game. There's no such thing as a safe score when you're playing us at the minute. It's like you'd almost want to be 4-0 up, and even then, you give it a good go to fucking let them get back in, kind of thing. Like, and yeah, it's really fucking frustrating because there was a lot of good things in that first 65, 70 minutes, and yeah, it's annoyed. I'm annoyed more than anything.
Chris, Kev says he's annoyed. I agree. Also very annoyed. What's your, I think we all know that you're frustrated, that you're annoyed. What's your takeaway from that? Are you feeling like beyond just frustrated? I know that that's going to be everyone's general idea, but do you look at that and say there were positives there, or do you just say burn the whole fucking thing down? Because I'm torn between those two things. I'm torn between, wow, like that was a little bit better, and now I feel like I want to burn the whole fucking thing down.
On 70 minutes, it was a professional away performance. You're going, right, this is a step in the right direction. Leeds aren't great, but you know what? We've seen to have seen this out, got ourselves 2 goals up. Happy days. The big elephant in the room with this side is any sort of setback, they absolutely implode. And my frustration is, look, we'll talk about this game in isolation, we will do. Well, my frustration is, that's like 3 wins in the last 10, 12 games.
For us?
For us, something like that, 3 and 14.
4 wins, I think, in 4, well, now it's 4 wins in 15.
4 wins in 15.
Yeah.
And look, people say,
it's relegation form. There's no kind of dancing around
listen,
it.
In the last 10 games, only 2 sides have a worse points per game. I think we've got 8 points in our last 10 games. I think Leeds have the same amount now, but their goal difference is slightly worse. And whether people like it or not, the minimum you had to come out of these 3 games for, in my head, was 7. That's what you had to be looking for.
I think so.
You can't be losing a game 2-0 up. Now, listen, the frustrating thing is, this is what's really annoyed me, is they had the warning signs, Liverpool. Look what they did to City. City went 2-0, they got to 2-2, they got 3-2, City saw it out. And Slot referenced he'd seen what they did against City, so he had that score. They then beat Chelsea 3-1. So they've had 2 big, energy-sapping games. And yet we still managed to help ourselves, managed to make ourselves sort of give the game away. Some of that, we could discuss some of the management tactics and the subs, and I don't think me and Kev discussed this, I think it's over you actually. Maybe the subs aren't wrong, but I think the manner, how we played after the subs, didn't quite work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you've got to say a lot to players, which is, with a minute to go, and you've got a corner, how is the goal scorer of the equalizer? There's no one around him.
Well, how is it also, like, think about what we've done in the past. Think about the Palace late goal. It's almost a carbon copy. There was another one off the top of my head that I can't think of, but again, it was
Chelsea.
It was
Palace,
It
Chelsea.
Was
there's loads of them.
Wide open. It's the same thing that's happening again and again. So Slot can train them till the cows come home. I don't know if that's a saying over there, but it is over here. Yeah, but at the same time, if you're going to continue to make those mistakes, I agree to some extent that that's not on Slot, that's on the players. But there are parts of this that also fall on Slot. So it's like the two things can exist. They can coexist at the same time.
Again,
the players can be culpable and Slot can be culpable.
Yeah. Again, my frustration is it's 10 or 11 set-piece goals we've conceded now in the Premier League. So it's an obvious fault. At no point does it look like it's getting better. And also, we haven't scored a set-piece goal from a corner all season. We haven't actually scored a header in the Premier League all season. Now, if Slot says he doesn't do that, somebody else in his staff does the coaching thing, how much longer do you need to know? Yeah, how much longer do you need to know to go, well, whoever you're giving the set pieces to, it's not fucking working because we keep conceding on defensive ones and we don't score attacking ones. Neither of them's a good. You don't have to be a fantastic. You don't need a coaching badge to tell you that. Going, whatever we're currently doing isn't working. We need to change it. And we're now in December, and I'm still looking in December going, I generally don't know whenever we get a corner which Liverpool's got to turn up. Is it the one that will actually defend some, or is it the one that just concede everything? Listen, it's a sad state of affairs, but I said to you guys beforehand, we're going into Leeds away, who are 4th bottom, aren't in great form.
And we don't feel confident.
And I'm still going, I think we'll be lucky if we get a point. And I felt like that against Sunderland, and I felt like that away at West Ham. It's not good for me. That's how how we feel about the squad at the moment. And I don't know what we do to change that. I know plenty of chat saying get rid of the manager. Maybe that changes to a thing to a certain extent, but I don't know how it also changes some of the players. Because some of the players just aren't switching on. And they're not switching on to basics. And I don't know if that will get better with a new voice, a new manager. But again, new voice, new manager, it could be a new setup. You haven't got time to do a new setup. So I don't know. But this again, my big frustration is that's 2 games running now. We have blown an opportunity to get yourself back in the European spots.
We would have been in 5th. We would have been tied with Chelsea.
We would have been tied with Chelsea.
Put them ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now I don't know where we are.
Right.
We're 9th.
I don't know. Look,
it's not acceptable.
Ed makes a point here, and look, he's leaving this here. So he's leaving this here. Played 21 in all competitions, won 10, lost 9, drew 2, scored 34, conceded 35. Fired the manager. Now, look, Slot's position is definitely under threat. All right, we can all agree on that. I think everyone in the chat can agree with that. It's as plain as the nose on your face. 1 10, lost 9, drawn 2 is mid-table at best. If you're looking at it on that positive and negative, well, it's a -1 goal difference. Means you're going to be if you've done that throughout the season, you're going to be finishing mid-table. You'll be outside of Europe, and that's just reality of it. And you're right, it is December, and it's a mentality thing. I think Madge made the point earlier on in the chat, the psychology of this side. when they face adversity is to retreat and almost pass off responsibility. The one thing that we did in the first half, right the way up and through the changes, was we kept the ball really well. We found angles for passes. The options on the ball for whoever had the ball were there. And as soon as Leeds made the switch from a back five to a back four and began to press in midfield, we looked like deer in the headlights, and we didn't have people went hiding. The options for passes weren't there, and we invited the pressure on ourselves. And the end result was you're conceding chances. Whereas up until Leeds made the changes, I think Allison had a very comfortable day. So look, we didn't react to the changes that they made in the right way, but I think the subs that he made were the right subs. It's when they crossed the line, the mindset of defend and drop off and stay in shape rather than look for passes, manage the ball, keep the ball, manage possession, and see it. It's not like you're coming up against the side playing some new fandangled way of playing. Leeds were playing 4-2-3-1. They come up against this week in, week out in international football and club football, and they have done for a good few years. It's not as if it's brand new. It's just that the mindset of wanting to defend and tracking your runners just wasn't there. Passing the buck off to someone else. That's what's the most frustrating thing of the fucking lot. But
let's go through it chronologically because the
lineups came out.
Yeah, so let's talk through the lineups. We saw there were 4 changes that were made from the last game. We saw Salah benched again. Nobody can blame Salah for this performance. We saw Ekitike come in for Isak. We saw Jones come in for McAllister. We saw Bradley fit enough to start, which was a surprise to me. So he came in for Gomez. And then we saw Kirkes come in for Robertson. Mm-hmm. Everyone else pretty much stayed the same. It was a lot of changes that people were calling for. The only one that didn't change that people were calling for was Gakpo. We'll touch on Gakpo, I promise. Yeah. But otherwise, a lot of people wanted to see Ekitike start for good reason. I think we saw that today. A lot of people wanted to see Jones in the midfield. I think we saw that for good reason. Again, I think he delivered. That's one thing that I will say for all of the subs that came in today. I think they all stood up in a way that I expected them to, and they all said, "My place, I deserve this place."
Definitely for the first 70, yeah.
Well, they came off. For most of them came off.
Yeah.
So anyways, did you have any shocks to the lineup, Chris?
Bradley was probably a little surprised because I didn't think he'd be fit enough, but he came in and looked fine. I am a little surprised Gakpo started, especially when the manager took about half time against Sunderland and said he was lacking confidence in one-on-ones, but then plays him again. And again, that's where you do have to question the manager a little bit, going, well, if you think he's lacking confidence in one-on-ones, probably starting away at Leeds is probably not the best idea. And I am a little bit going like, listen, I'm not saying Chiesa will solve all problems, but it's getting to the point where I'm thinking, he can't do any worse left wing. At least give him a go. At least try it. If it doesn't work, then we go, all right, it doesn't work. There's a reason why he's not picked him, but give him a go. So that was the only one that was surprised. The rest of it I was fine with. I was fine with Jones starting. I felt Jones probably should have started more games than he has. I think he's played better than McAllister. Gravenberch picks himself. Szoboszlai, Liverpool's best player. So the rest of it's fine. And it was interesting Wirtz get a bit more of a central view, if you know, more of a central position, sorry. So, yeah, no, in general, I was fine with it. The only one surprise for me was probably I would have given Gakpo a rest off the bench, personally.
Kev, was there anything that was shocking or the opposite? Was there anything that you were really excited to see?
Yeah, look, Hugo, I always like watching him. I was looking forward to seeing what the link-up would be like with Szoboszlai and Bradley, because we've seen what it's like with Szoboszlai and Jones. Sorry, not Jones, but Gomez on that side. So I wanted to see what he'd be like with a fullback who likes to get the ball out of his feet and can put a cross in with pace. And we saw that work out pretty well. Again, surprised Gakpo started. Don't know what Chiesa has. I mean, the thing is with Chiesa, last season he was behind Mo Salah apparently, and that's why he wasn't getting a game, because Mo Salah was on fire. Fair enough. Now he's behind two number nines, and that's why he's not getting a game, because now he's a number 9. Whereas I see Chiesa's best position, and it always has been, is off the left. He's a right-footed player coming in off the left who can dribble, who can go both ways, and he's quick.
And we don't have depth there.
No, exactly. So I don't know why he wasn't used. That's the manager can.
I don't know if the manager thinks that he can do 90 minutes. No. I don't know if he trusts the fitness. I don't know if he trusts the off-the-ball work. I can try to come up with a million different reasons, but we, at this point, probably should have at least seen it as an experiment, if nothing else.
But should have been an option. 100% should have been an option.
When we're 4 wins from, for today, we were 4 wins from 14, and predominantly the left wing has often been Gakpo, and we're not getting many better results. What harm can it do? Because it's not. Everyone goes, "Oh, you didn't win." Well, we're not winning many anyway. So
exactly.
Even just giving him competition, I think, could help him raise his levels.
It might do. I think some players actually perform better with pressure on them, like player pressure. I actually think that's a big problem Konaté's got. I don't think Konaté's got any pressure on him, and I think Konaté's best seasons for Liverpool have been when he's had like a Matip or someone behind him, where you've gone like, well, if he doesn't play well, they're gonna throw Matip in, and everyone goes, that's fine. And I think that's where you get the best at. Some players react really well to competition, some don't. Mm-hmm. And I think Gakpo and Konaté fall in the realms of, I think they need a little bit of, breath in the back of the neck of like, oh, if I don't play well, he's gonna be picked ahead of me. Which Gakpo had with Diaz. And he knew if he didn't play well, Diaz would start ahead of him.
Yeah.
And I do think that's the problem.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on, so early signs, Leeds came out fighting. We knew they were going to come out fighting. And we're talking a little bit about Konaté and defensive fragility, we'll call it. And within about the first 5 minutes or so, I was already kind of shaking in my boots. I don't know about you. There was one shot that went through Ibu's legs from Okafor that went just wide. And then 3 minutes later, Goodmanson had that volley that went right over the bar. Yeah. There was a couple of long throws where one was where Ekitike missed the ball. Kirkes blocked it really well. And it could have gone anywhere. So there were kind of 3 warning shots that happened right in a row within the first 5 minutes. And then we started to see Liverpool kind of get their foot on the ball and start to gain a little bit of possession. And I think right around that point up until about 30-ish minutes, we had about 75% of possession. So we did get a foot on the ball. We did start passing. And I think we started to see a little bit of, what perhaps Slot has been working on. So just kind of talking about this good period in the game, Kev, what did you see that you liked that maybe we can, hope for in the future? I promise we will get to the negative stuff later for everyone in the chat. We're just going to talk about the good stuff for a little bit.
The movement, I think Kirk has had a decent game. Again, he gets up and down the wing. He's always an option. Put in some decent crosses. He was not the problem today. Cody was annoying. A couple of times he got into good positions and messed up his crosses. Went on the outside of his fullback more often than not today. More times than he normally would. Got him booked early and then never really went at him again. Curtis Jones, with that effort, rattled the crossbar. Yep. I was looking at that. You see it going all the way, and you're like, just dip, just please dip. And
what a different game it might have been.
Well, it didn't drop, but it was a good effort, and we know he's got that in his locker. And from that side of the pitch, it's a good weapon to have. Look, McAllister's got that as well. We saw that against Spurs, last season, where he can score from there. And I thought on the ball, Curtis Jones was really good. Very, very poor for their second, but in the main, he had a decent game. Wirtz, in and out. He was involved in the play in the first half, but not involved in the areas where you want him involved. He was too far away from Ekitike a lot of the time, where you want him involved closer to the penalty box. And he was just trying to be involved too far away. Again, you can see the signs of when they start making runs that they can telegraph, that they can anticipate. the ball will move that fraction faster, and it will work out. Virgil had a really good chance as well. Should do better from
26 minutes.
Yeah, from
right up the bar. He got a real clear sight there.
Yeah, you expect him to get that on target. It was good. It was good movement from him. He took, I think it was Calvert-Lewin. He just nudged him out of the way, created the space for himself, and you expect him to score that, or at least get it on target and work the keeper. It was all the pace was on the ball. All he had to do was direct it, just get over it, and that could have been 2-0. But for the vast majority of the half, I thought we dominated it completely. Leeds they were very direct. They tried to win second balls. We largely dealt with them pretty well. They dealt with the set pieces that they had, the long throws that they had pretty well as well. So yeah, got into halftime frustrated that we didn't capitalize on a dominant first half performance. But I thought, yeah, it'll come. It will come. I wasn't worried. Let's put it that way.
Chris, we were talking right around this point as well, and you said in our Telegram chat, or not in our Telegram chat, in our WhatsApp chat, we're not taking enough shots. We're not working the keeper. We're not using this period of dominance. And I came back to you and I said, Slot has come out many times and said that in the first half of games, his philosophy is that the goals should be scored either by moments of brilliance by certain players or by set pieces. And that is his way forward. And then in the second half, he will have the players take more shots. And he said that openly. He said it in regard to specific teams. But the fact is that we were in a period of dominance there, and we had technically no shots on target. We did have shots that hit the bar or went over the bar. We had no shots on target. And one thing I want to pick up on is right around 37 minutes, there were 2 instances from Gakpo where he had the opportunity to cross, and the crosses just made no sense whatsoever. They were high, they were looping, they weren't to anyone in particular. It was as if Slot had decided.
It was like the Henderson ones that used to wind everyone up.
Sort of, yes. But it was as if Slot had decided or had pulled Gakpo aside and said, you know what, I don't want you cutting inside. I don't want you taking that shot. I want you doing this instead. But then the execution was so poor that not only was he not taking a shot, but it was like he was between 2 places. For me, that was the first indication. I guess there were probably more that I missed, but that was the first indication that this was not working with Cody Gakpo.
I thought
were you feeling similarly at that time?
Yeah, I thought Cody's head was kettled.
Yeah,
he had a game, and look, players have these moments. They have, we know Cody Gakpo is a good player. We've seen it for the last couple of years, but he hasn't had a great season this year. And I think you can see before half time, his head was kettled, and it felt like whatever he tried was never going to come off. And the fact the manager has hauled him at half time last week to say, like, look, he's struggling 1-on-1s. Why you bring then? I think putting him back in that situation at the game later actually is putting a player who's low on confidence under more pressure. And he hasn't reacted to it, so we can't say it worked because he didn't react well to it. In terms of what you said about Slot, okay, if your plan in the first half is either a moment of brilliance or a set piece, well, okay, moments of brilliance you can't plan for, but you can plan for set pieces, and we're crap at them. Let's put it simply, we're crap at them.
If we are planning for them,
because we haven't scored ahead. We haven't scored ahead in the Premier League all season. We haven't scored from a corner all season. And this isn't the first game. There's quite a lot of games. And again, this not just the manager, this also falls on players. Players are not clinical in either box when it matters. Virgil van Dijk, that's not a difficult header for a centre half of his ability. That's a routine header that you expect to get on target at least. He actually gets one on target second half at 2-2, which is more difficult. And we've seen that too many times. And I felt like that in the Sunderland game at times, going like, the one time we had little moments of dominance, we're not taking our chances. And it's just like, it's a little bit rinse and repeat. And again, this is where I'm a bit in 2 stools, going like, I find the whole thing incredibly sad because you want the manager to do well. You want the manager to get things right. You want it to go well because you do. You won the league last year. You all want it to go well. And there are factors that are affecting the season. What went on the summer, all the changes. We could go through what all the factors are. But ultimately, after 15 games in the league, I don't think it's wrong to expect more. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool should have been top of the league. We expect Liverpool to be challenging for the league this year, and I don't think that was an unrealistic expectation. I did expect Liverpool to be 10 points off top.
I don't even care at this
Well,
point.
Ashley makes the point here, and look, Ashley, you can read this one yourself.
These are just the facts. It's 1 win in 5 since the international break. This was supposed to be the renaissance. We all said Slot had a window of time to turn this around. There were winnable games. So 1 win in 5 since the international break. We've conceded 3 in 3 games. We've kept 1 clean sheet, and we faced Forest, PSV, West Ham, Sunderland, and Leeds. That's a winnable run, and no matter what the circumstances or what the, what's going on in their heads, that's still on. You still have to judge a team and a manager on results,
Paper.
And it's a results business. As sentimental as we are,
it is, and I know some people don't like that is it, but I think Kev said this fairly early in the season. I think we've all said it on the pod. We said the opening 11 games that Liverpool had in the league was a tough run. Mm-hmm. And I think we all said, if we were within 6-7 points of top after that run, that's all right. Because actually, the run after November onwards, on paper, is kinder. And I think that's where you can pick up your lost points. So that's not too bad. I think I've answers to do that with the squad and the players and the manager we've got. I'll be honest, the form since we've come back from the November break, if anything, looks a bit worse than we were playing on paper, a more difficult run. And that's the concern is, we're just not seeing enough of a reaction, I don't think. It feels like, I don't know if you feel this, Kev, it just feels like a false door after false doors. And West Ham was a step in the right direction. There were little bits of Sunderland that were okay. Today, there were a good 70 minutes. But then you go in. But also, in the back end, I don't sound desperate, but it is against Leeds, who are bottom 4 side. So you should sort of expect a bit of dominance for that 70 minutes. But then it all falls apart very quickly. And it doesn't seem to take a lot for it to fall apart. I don't think it really matters whether you're peak Man City or relegation battle in Leeds. I think both ends of the spectrum causes trouble. The only club that's never caused any trouble is West Ham. But I think West Ham in generally a bit of a basket case.
I can't wait to read you the quotes that are coming out.
Oh,
yeah. They're going to be real interesting to you guys. And I promise I will. Normally I throw them in the chat.
We'll get to them in a second.
I promise I'll get them in there because
I'm at the point where I can't give answer. I don't feel like I can give an answer as to why we're like this. And the best I can say to you guys is this is how we felt a bit in the last season of Brendan Rodgers, where you were kind of going, I don't really know where the wins are going to come from. Even if we're ahead, I'm not fully confident we're going to see it out.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we haven't felt like that for 10 plus years.
Exactly.
We've been very lucky in that sense. We've had 10 years where we've had the odd dips in seasons, but generally you always felt Liverpool will get something out of this, or Liverpool will score, or we'll see a draw out. Even when Klopp had that run of 6 home defeats in a row, you still always felt Liverpool had goals in it. You felt like Liverpool would do something to make it interesting.
We're still picking up points away. That's the thing. I mean, Real Talk makes a point here. They are mentally fragile, and they are.
Yeah.
And it's clear as day.
But he also makes the point that City just about beat Leeds, and that Chelsea lost to Leeds, and it's one of those things where it's so frustrating because you want to look at the results and just be angry, but Sunderland are where they are.
Let me just say this about Leeds at the minute, okay? Sorry. Their last few results, okay? Draw against us, beat Chelsea 3-1 deservedly. 3-2 against City, unlucky with a late goal, with a late one. Lost 2-1 to Aston Villa, and we've seen what Aston Villa have done today. And then they lost 3-1 against Forest. And the Forest game was, I think, when they decided to change. When they decided to change their focus and their mentality. So from when you look at the results that they've had, Villa, City, Chelsea, now us. If people went into it looking at the table, thinking it's going to be easy, I'm telling you, there is no easy games anywhere in this league this season. Everyone is beating everyone. The results today, there wasn't a single away win anywhere today. It was up and down the league. There wasn't a single away win. There were 2 draws, and the rest were home wins. So the way this season is panning out, it's going to be one of those crazy seasons. And I think it was, I can't remember who put it in the chat earlier. Any side who can put a run of
3 games,
3 or 4 wins together in any direction whatsoever, you're either going to get yourself into a position of safety, you're going to push yourself into Europe, or if you go and lose 4 games on the bounce, you'll tumble down the league. So it's all about mental strength in these games. And when you put yourself in a position like we did,
that's the problem.
At 2-0,
that's the problem.
To see it out. And look, we started the second half.
Justin puts that in there. He says, we've thrown away a 2-goal lead 4 times this season. And we've failed to score in the first half of 10 out of 15 league games. So, yes, the teams that we're playing are better. They are more difficult to beat. I think that if you look at the context, perhaps you would view some of these things as good points, but not when you are where you are in the match.
Yeah.
So, if we were 0-0 at the very end after a really hard fought, equal battle, very different discussion. But the way that we lost, and we always say that there are ways to win a game and there are ways to lose a game.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the difference here.
Yeah. Well, one thing, Mark makes a point here, when you're 2-0 up and dominating a game, you don't drop points. Slot went too defensive too early. Look, that's a point. Tomorrow night, when Gav, Emmett, and whoever is on with them tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, I'm certain that that's going to come up, and that will be a conversation that they will have tomorrow night for sure.
All right, guys. So we have talked pretty much up to halftime.
Yeah.
There wasn't really much that happened after. There was a late sliding tackle from Bradley who got a yellow card.
That wasn't a fucking foul, by the way.
Well,
that wasn't a foul. He got the ball.
Taylor was going through a period of that game where he decided that every single thing was going to be a foul. He was going to break up the rhythm of play. And yes, yeah. Bradley's, it was a sliding tackle. I don't actually think he made contact with the Leeds player in general.
He got the ball. He won the ball.
And as a result, Bradley's going to miss the next game. So not the inter-game, but he will miss next week versus Brighton.
Yeah, I would miss Brighton.
So just don't want to miss that. But at halftime, I wasn't really calling for any changes. I think that all of us were kind of sitting there being like, okay, this is a little bit better. Were you calling for changes, Chris?
I wanted Gakpo off. Because only reason I wanted him off was I felt the way we were playing, a lot of our best attacking chances were coming to him on the left. And it wasn't happening for him. It just wasn't working for him. It just, every time the ball fell for him, his crosses weren't coming off. He wasn't getting the shot off. It just wasn't working for him. So I kind of felt, well, if we're getting those positions again, I'd rather it fell to a Chiesa or a Mo, somebody different, because he's just off form. And I'm surprised he should have. That's one change I would have made at half time. But look, he didn't make it. And listen, we can't argue because the first 10 minutes, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant first 10 minutes, and it's perfect for the away performance.
I mean, we get to 49 minutes is when things start happening. That's where Verts goes down in the box. This is going to be something that we're going to talk about on our Good Process show, just so that we can walk through the whole incident. But Verts goes down in the box, and I immediately think penalty. And Anthony Taylor waves play on. Does he wave play on because he's playing advantage, or does he wave play on because he thinks it's not a pen? I'm not quite sure. We don't get to figure that out because less than 30 seconds later, Kirkes takes the ball. He crosses it into Ekitike, who is in line with the ball, and Ekitike scores.
Yeah,
and
that was the second goal.
That I missed a goal. So let's rewind.
Yeah.
I am so sorry, everyone. I missed a goal. They all happened that fast. So
2 goals in 2 minutes.
Let's rewind to 47 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, so the first goal, Ekitike basically got a gift from Leeds. He pounced on a mistake, and that was the most clinical finish that I've seen Ekitike have recently, in the sense that he was able to look up for a split second, see where the keeper was, and then slot the ball into a spot where he knew the keeper wasn't going to get it. I'm so sorry to everyone in the chat that I just made really confused. So we're talking about the first goal at 47 minutes and 30 seconds. I thought that was fantastic. And I said to you guys, that is what we signed a number 9 for. How did you feel after that goal went in?
Great. The one we are confident with Ekitike, I mean, look, that's his first, he hadn't scored in his previous 8 games. The one thing I would say with Ekitike is when he's put through 1-on-1, I don't feel like he's ever going to miss. Kev pointed out brilliantly in our chat, he slows down just enough for a one-on-one to then just calmly put it past the keeper. He's so good at one-on-ones. You still get many of them these days because teams sit so deep. So yeah, when he's clean through, I'll be amazed if he ever misses a one-on-one because he's just got that clinical edge. Torres was excellent at one-on-ones. He's just got that way around him. And listen, I was made up thinking, great, took advantage of a gift, which Liverpool, to be fair, in that previous run, haven't been doing. Look, it's a poor pass back by Roden, but he reads it, takes it, and makes them pay for it. That's what you should do, and that's what you pay the money for a number 9 to do. So look, I was made up for it. I was also made up for him because I actually feel like he's been lucky enough to start more games, and I don't feel he's had the luck or the rub of the green sometimes with chances that fell to him or shots that fell to him. So it was good for him to get that monkey off his back. He'll get his first Premier League goal since the derby in September. So yeah, I was made up for him. What about you, Kev?
Really good finish. Like I said, he anticipated that there might be, an underhit pass. He gets there really quick. He is lightning quick. It was when he gets a touch, he takes a defender out of it completely. There was another player coming in from the right-hand side, slows down, waits for the keeper to make a decision, slots it. It's a proper striker's goal. Love to see it. Deserved it for what he did in the first half. I think he did a lot of good hold-up play, and his interlinking play was really good in the first half as well. But more often than not, he was able to get on the ball more because we were looking to get the ball up the pitch faster. The pressure came on Rondon, or Roden by Wirtz, I think. It might have been Wirtz and Gakpo looking to put pressure on the pass. And he underhits it, and Ekitike anticipated it, like all good strikers should. And he tucks it away 1-0. You think, yeah, exactly what you want after halftime, especially given the first half that we had. You didn't want to start the second half where Leeds started the first half. We're 5 minutes of absolute bombarding us, and the Elland Road gets up. He silenced the crowd completely. And then to cap it off, I said to you guys in the chat, I was like, you get one, you get two. You want to be like buses because that's when there's disarray. That's when there's panic. When they go one down, you want to capitalize it and make it two. And we did. Whether there was a shout for a penalty or not, who knows? We'll find. I mean, actually, we're looking at it in a good process. But the second goal was a lot of players switched on to the possibility. Winning it back high up, and a really good cross by Bradley, and a really brave finish from Hugo to be in the right place. It was so close to offside. Marginal as you get. I thought he was leaning into it. It looked so tight, but he gets there, and he's brave to get there, gets the finish, and 2-0. You could tell the relief in the celebrations as well. It was, that was on 50 minutes. Still a long way to go, but you're 2-0 up. And, that VAR check took, I think, 2.5 minutes. And the reason it was taking so long, I honestly thought he was offside. So now they're looking at the penalty. That's what it felt like to me, because the semi-automated technology should make that a really quick decision to make, even with how close it was. But the way the Premier League has taken on this semi-automated technology, there isn't a need to bring out crosshairs and lines and stuff like that. The technology is there.
We know that they have a different system. They don't
Exactly.
use the in-ball technology because they have a different brand of football in the Premier League, which is not licensed to carry that chip. So in Europe, the chip makes it happen a lot faster. In England, they use little cameras and stuff, and so it does take longer. And thank you for correcting my mistake. I said that the cross was from Kirkes. That was my mistake. It was Bradley. Thank you, John, in the chat for also correcting me. All of that was written way too fast in my notes. But as a result, we ended up with 2 goals in basically 4 minutes, and it felt like a little bit like old Liverpool.
Yeah.
There was a point last season where we would go up by a goal and then we would immediately have a second goal. And I used to call it like bang, bang Liverpool, where it felt like you would just have this 1-2 punch and then the other team would crumble. And it felt like that for a really brief moment in time. It felt like, wow, we have our Liverpool back. I don't know if you guys felt like that. I thought for that brief moment in time, it felt like we have our Liverpool back. And the comms started coming out with stats like, Liverpool haven't lost here since 2000. They could go 5th above Everton. They could be 8 points off top. All of these good things.
That was the most confident I've been about Liverpool when they were 2-0, thinking actually the whole thing was quite comfortable. And you were like, oh, right, just see this out now. I was sort of saying, like, hopefully this will be a comfortable 20 minutes and we might be able to give Szoboszlai a few minutes rest so he doesn't get a 5th yellow. All good. And then...
Well, let me just address the elephant in the room here 1 sec. We badly missed the quality of Salah. We had no threat down the right-hand side. We scored 2 goals.
Damned if we do, we damned if we don't.
No, we scored 2 goals from the right-hand side today.
Yeah, they came from him.
They came from that side, be it our 3rd goal, the 2nd goal. So, yeah, Mark, I'm sorry.
I think we missed a quality winger over there.
But that's not. It's not
I don't know if that's Salah at this point in time. I don't think he would have helped.
Yeah,
but I do think that we missed wingers between whether it's Gakpo or Mo.
Yeah,
I think there's quality that definitely could be improved there. But I get it. There's a point at 64 minutes where we get our first glimpse of Leeds' threat. We obviously saw it at the very, very beginning of the game. But at 64 minutes, there is a cross where Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't connect, but it falls to Bogle. And Bogle has a point-blank shot on Ali, who spreads himself really well, stops it, but it is offside. That, for me, was the first kind of warning sign. Because that was, again, it was a player back post that was left open. And thankfully he was offside, but it's a little bit of like a foreshadowing for things to come.
Yeah, this is where you've got to have this is where me and Kev talked about as well with yourself is I don't think we disagreed with the subs that came on. I think Gomez came on for Bradley, makes sense.
That was all going to happen.
That was going to happen. He'd come back for injury, and you brought McAllister on for Wirtz to put an extra body in the midfield, kind of go 4-1-1, trying to match Leeds up.
So that was right after this. That was right after that chance. That was on 67 minutes.
That setup makes sense. The bit that didn't make sense to me is you 2-0 up. I get you don't want to do anything silly. We'll come to the silliness in a minute. But I felt we went back into that thing we tried to do at West Ham, which is we're just going to sit all the way back now and go. It wasn't even a low block. It was just like panic, sit back. And I was like going, you probably didn't need to sit back. You still could have kept the ball and tried to pick Leeds off, which was what the idea was.
After Leeds made their changes, we had a really good chance on 67. Cody got the ball out from his feet and curled one into the far corner, and the keeper made a really good save. It was a good effort. At the end of the day, the only thing you'd say with that one is go higher. Take the keeper out of the equation. Look for the top corner. Once you go at that height, you're giving the keeper a really good chance, especially with Gakpo from that side because he telegraphs it. He didn't with his shot in the first half where he went near post. When he opens his body out to look for the far post, he telegraphs it. And if you do that, you have to go high. It's one thing I suppose with Salah. Salah telegraphs all of his shots. When he cuts in off the right, he almost always goes for the far corner. But invariably, he'll look to get height on the ball to take the keeper out of the equation. So that would be the only frustrating thing. But that was on 67. So
right. So we have our subs come on at 67 minutes. We have one final good chance. They say a lot of times that subs change games, and they say a lot of times that when you make subs, you destabilize your team. So although, in my opinion, the subs kind of make sense on paper, my argument for this is that I think he destabilized the team too early. I think he looked at the scoreline at 2-0. He felt comfortable, and he said, I'm going to rest some players. I haven't had the luxury of resting players in months. I'm going to rest some players. I think pulling Bradley made a lot of sense, but I personally wouldn't have taken Wirtz off. I would have left everything the same and kept Bradley where it was. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I actually, again, would have took Gakpo off and left Wirtz and Ekitike as a 2.
Perhaps.
And then gone a bit more of a solid midfield 4. But I wouldn't have asked the team, and we can't, it has to be come from the manager. This is not just the players. There is an element of the players too as well. But we dropped deeper. And it invited pressure on. And I don't think, and I get the idea of drop a bit deeper to invite pressure to hit them on the counter, but we never look set for that. And then look, the penalty comes from.
We're going to get to it right now.
The penalty is just fucking frustrating.
So that was 67 minutes where the subs came on, and then we have the calamity that is Ibou Konate. So Ibou Konate at 69 minutes. Kev, I'm going to come to you on this because you and I actually disagree.
Yeah.
So Ibou Konate is facing Nato. I don't know if there's a silent G in there or not.
Yeah,
but he's facing him up. The ball is rolling out, and Ibou Konate makes the decision to go to ground, 2-footed, and Nato decides he's going to go for the ball. In my opinion, I think that he buys this penalty. I think he 100% buys it. I think that he actually runs into Ibou's sliding legs rather than Ibou making any sort of contact toward the player. So I think that it was bought. But that being said, Ibou goes to ground, and this was initially not given as a penalty on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So the on-field decision from Anthony Taylor was no penalty. So we are told a lot of the time, referees call. Was there a clear and obvious error? Is it deserving enough of getting sent to the monitor? So we have a moment here where it gets sent to the monitor. And once things get sent to the monitor, it's not even a question anymore. We don't have, in Europe where people actually go to the monitor and make a decision. It's once it goes to the monitor, this decision's already been made. It's just sort of a formality, which drives me nuts. Yeah. But Anthony Taylor goes over. He decides that this is a penalty. There are a couple questions. Was the ball in play when the contact was made? Was Ibou actually making contact with Nato, or was Nato making contact with Ibou? And also just why the fuck was Ibou doing these things? So Kev, I'll let you kind of give your opinion on this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, first things first, the first angle that I saw of it, you saw the angle of what Nato was looking at, and it was a clear empty space into the 6-yard box for him to put the cross in. That's why I said Konate has to go to ground. He has to make himself as big as possible. Go to ground. He tucks his arm into his chest to make sure he doesn't give a handball away. He slides in, wet ground. Once he slides, he's out of control. You're not slowing yourself down. I honestly look at it. Nonso never makes a move towards him. I don't know if the ball is in play or not, but it's catch-22. He has to go to ground to stop the cross. Once you go to ground, you're giving the referee a decision to make. The ref makes his decision, and then VAR gets involved. The question is going to be, when you look back at it, does he make contact with Nonso when the ball is still active and live? I still haven't seen a replay to say that he does. But we'll see in the fullness of time when it comes out. If he did, and he makes contact, it's going to be given. It's just one of them. But you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If he doesn't go to ground, Nonto crosses it for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and it's a tap in. You're saying, why the fuck isn't he going to ground? You can stop the cross, goes out for a corner, and you deal with it. But Nonto never even tries to play the cross. He waits for the contact.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's a case of whether the ball is, if the ball is live or not.
It was. So the ball was live.
So the ball was live when there's contact.
I've seen the reviews, and as far as I've seen, unless there's another angle out there that shows otherwise, what I saw, the ball was still in play. For me, it was raining the entire day at Leeds. He knew sliding was going to have that kind of an impact. You play to the conditions. If you're going to slide 2-footed, I think for me, you're more likely to give a penalty away in that situation than not. I'd rather risk the cross. I think that that's such a high-risk tackle that unless you're 100% sure you're going to get the ball, you don't do it. I would rather deal with the cross. Because for me, that 9 times out of 10, that will be a penalty. If you go 2-footed and you don't get the ball, you're fucked. You're just over. And that was the decision that he made.
I think that's what kills Konate.
It kills the whole game. It
because I just don't think I think if he got any sort of connection on the ball, I think he's fine. Do I think Konato's going to get the cross in without this little touch from Konate? Probably not. But
I don't even
as soon as you don't get the ball, I think that was always going to get given. As soon as I saw the replay, I thought that would get given. Soft or what? I thought he'd get given. And listen, 2-1. Now I understand people's premise, whether it's online, friends messaging me saying like that's what killed the game for Liverpool. It got the crowd up, it got everything up, it was 2-1. And that is true, conceding a goal away from home 2-1, 15 minutes, it does get the crowd up. But fuck me, lads, they've got to react better. And literally, it was within 2 minutes. Was it the second goal was in 2 minutes? And Gomez and Jones, a ball watcher. Jones actually, I thought, had a decent game, but again, in the crucial moment, Gomez, Jones, senior players, whatever you want to say, don't follow it. It's a good finish. He does the keeper with the eyes, but within a minute, how are we from our kickoff with less than a minute giving the ball back to them, and we're not following runners, and we let them turn, stop, turn in the box, finish. It was just like watching traffic cones. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and that's the thing that's frustrating me. And again, I don't know how you fix that, because any sort of setback, and the 2-1 is a setback. Last year, 2-1 setback, Liverpool would have been a bit more solid. They'd have, made sure Leeds didn't touch the ball for a good 10 minutes, and they'd have tried to look for a third, but they'd have made life difficult for Leeds. And it just went into panic stations. Now, what caused the panic stations? Is it the players? Is it how the manager sets them up? Is it a bit of both? The answer's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't really know, but I can't believe how many points we're dropping from winning positions or 2-0 up and still throwing points away. It's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, so we had the Ebu penalty.
Bear in mind that VAR check was 3 minutes. So that's 5 minutes for the added time.
Okay, so we'll get to the added time because it was a question mark. So we touched on the penalty. We're touching here now on the fact that within 6 minutes we have a second goal that goes against us. We talked about us doing the bang bang thing earlier, Kev. Is this just another indication of this team just losing their heads? I mean, I think I said to you, Ebu will basically fall apart after this. We just know it. We know that he does this. Did you see that goal coming, or were you surprised about how poor that was?
I was surprised, really surprised with how much. Look, credit to Leeds. The way they worked the position on the wing was really good. They pulled Jones out, or not Jones, sorry. They pulled Gomez out. They played around him. Jones doesn't follow his runner. Ebu has a decision to make. Does he come or does he drop? He decides to drop. And by him dropping, combining with Jones not tracking his runner, players free in the edge of the box, inside the box, gets his shot off. It's 2-2. And it's a combination of fuck-ups. Once Gomez gets dragged out and they play the ball around him, they do it really well. They manipulate the space really well. Aronson does well for that. But Jones not tracking his runner into that, and especially him, because Stack is a really good player. And you have to be aware of the danger there. Once Jones doesn't follow him, Konate has to step out. It just compounds Jones's mistake when Konate drops off and gives him the space to get the shot off. And you sat there in the space of 5 minutes, going from a comfortable 2-0 back to 2-2. And at that stage, Elland Road is absolutely hopping. And from then, anything can happen. You could lose. You can definitely 100% lose it from there. With the atmosphere that's in the ground, the side who's behind getting back into the game, they have all the momentum. The changes that they've made are working. We're reacting rather than being progressive, and then you're stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea.
We're in a position at the moment where our defensive players don't like defending. They don't like the pressure of defending, and it's frustrating because last year that's what the likes of Van Dijk, Konate, Gravenberch loved. And to be a really good side, your defensive players have got to love that challenge and that battle and that will to put your body on the line, do the dirty side of things. And I just don't think we just don't seem to have that in us at the moment. How will that change? I don't know. I've seen plenty of the chat saying the manager could go now. If the manager goes, will a new voice change all that? I generally don't know. I'm at that point where I'm going like, how much is the manager, how much the players, how much is circumstance off the pitch? It's probably a combination of all three. If you change one element, does it improve the other two? I don't know. But I must admit, Kev, I think we were in our chat, and I think we were saying, Ashley, we were like, 2-2, we're like, fucking hell. This. I've seen this story before. I was waiting for 3. I must admit, I was waiting for 3-2 Leeds.
Yeah. So I mean, we had this moment where, Bonkers puts it in the chat. Sometimes when you concede one, you can concede another after a minute, and we did it to them. They did it to us, but we come back against all odds, against what I thought, against what you thought, against what our kind of chat talked. We come back. So Kev, let's talk through the Szoboszlai goal. 77 minutes. 80 minutes. You have Gravenberch that passes the ball over. There's a fantastic little step over from McAllister. And then you have Szoboszlai scoring a goal, getting us back in the game. Where were you at that point?
Don't fuck it up. You've given yourself. You've been clawed back. You got it back to 2. They've got it back to 2-2, and you're talking what in the space of 5 minutes. You work a great position. It's a really good goal. It's a lovely ball across to find Dominic, and McAllister makes a really good run, takes the defender out of the equation. And that's, from a Leeds point of view, the difference between playing the whole game in a back 5, switching to a back 4. They overcompensate with the run from McAllister, leaving the space available for Szoboszlai. And it's a brilliant goal. It's a really, really good goal. 80 minutes. And all I just kept saying, please fucking see this out. I'm just sick to death of doing these fucking shows where we don't see the fucking game out. I am sick to my back fucking teeth of it. And I'm like, 80 minutes, just do your fucking jobs, lads. Just do your jobs. The pressure's going to come. It's just the way football is. And I don't care if you're playing against a side in fucking League 2. If you're 10 minutes to go and the home crowd is ripping at the atmosphere to drag you back into it, they will get chances. It's just a case of make sure the chances that they get are fucking bad ones. And try to manage the game, manage the ball, and keep it when you can. Get into positions to get up the pitch and get a fourth and see it out. But I thought Szoboszlai was brilliant. And I thought Szoboszlai was really good all game, especially off that position. He offers you that, and he will score goals from that position as well, because it was a really good ball to find him, and he's got the energy to be able to get up and down the pitch and the composure to be able to make the finish. It was a really good goal. And at 3-2, you've got a punch in the face and a punch in the gut, but you got back up and you've given yourself a chance to see it out. Just do it. Just see it out and get your 3 points and move on.
Which is what City did last weekend. Yeah. They got the sucker puncher going 2-2, got themselves 3-2 up, and then kept Leeds out. And again, City had a similar thing against Fulham. They had a scare, but they saw it out. The thing that's frustrated us, I'll speak for myself because you guys tell me if it frustrates you, is when it came with 9 minutes added time, which, look, we could question where 9 minutes got, but look, it was what it was. It was 9 minutes added time. With the players we've got on the pitch, you've got Gravenberch, you've got Szoboszlai, you've got McAllister, players who are good with the ball.
We also brought 2 additional defenders on. So we're at 82 minutes after that Szoboszlai goal went in, which kind of goes back to the idea of how much can you blame Slot. So Slot decides, I'm going to bring on Gomez, and I'm going to bring on, or not Gomez, I'm going to bring on Endo, and I'm going to bring on Isak.
By the way, I think the Isak sub's wild, and I'll give you why in a minute, because my thing with Isak is I haven't seen enough. I don't watch loads of Newcastle. I haven't seen enough from yet Liverpool to show his mobility and how quick he is for a counter and all that. If you're going to put an attacking player on, put someone on who's got pace. Just even if you just go A-Louse football of, I'm going to pump it long down the right wing and just someone dead fast run onto it, which is Chiesa.
Did we need an attacking player at that point in time?
Well, maybe not, but I think maybe Ekitike was knackered, so that's why they wanted to bring off. But maybe you got to bring Ekitike off. Endo coming on makes sense, defense player, but maybe put a pacey player on. Because one thing Ekitike gave was pace of movement. Just something where you can just go, listen, he always says Chiesa's just run wings. All we're going to do is get to you, run it into a corner. I just want you for 5 minutes, just get the ball and run it into a corner, take a foul. Which, to be fair to Chiesa, whenever we brought him on, he's good at keeping hold of the ball. He knows how to use his pace. He's really good at winning free kicks. He's really good at buying a free kick and making players foul and getting you up the pitch. That's not really Isak's game. It wasn't that we had to push for a winner. I mean, we did in the end, but that's
But
different.
like, could we have not have brought Robertson on? For example, he was on the bench. I'm looking at the bench now. I'm just trying to figure out, what were our options.
Yeah,
Could we not have brought Robertson? If you wanted pace, bring on Ngamoa. Like, just throw him up there so that he can just, at least he kind of can take it off into the corner and dribble.
I only say Chiesa because he's a bit more of an experienced head in those sort of situations, and I think we kind of saw in the Sunderland game. He's very switched on in pressure moments. I mean, let's face it, we glazed one off the line against Sunderland. This could have been a really depressing week if it wasn't for Chiesa.
The thing is, we scored our goal on 80 minutes. There was still 20 minutes to go.
No, I mean, maybe so.
And the thing is, you got to look at it from. If you go and look at it, Leeds didn't actually do anything in those. After we scored, Ali didn't really have much to do. He made a couple of routine saves, but nothing that was out of the way. We were defensively fairly solid. And for the overwhelming majority of the game, I'm just going to have a quick look and see how many corners Leeds had. I think they had a few, but we defended them all pretty well. And when your luck's not in, your luck's not in. And when they get their goal, the corner comes in. I don't know if it gets a flick.
I think it gets a flick
on the way through.
I think it's a flick of one of our players. I think Harris Gravenberch or Van Dijk don't get enough initial header.
If that ball
they only had 4 corners.
If that ball comes through and gets no touch from Gravenberch whatsoever, that bounces off Tanaka and it goes up in the air and you deal with it. Gravenberch's hand literally slows the fucking ball down to land it in the perfect position for Tanaka to lash it. And it's like, you couldn't write it that when your luck is out, your luck is fucking out. And the crazy thing is, if it didn't bounce off anyone, I wonder if they'd have given a penalty for it. I wonder if they would have given, because it's not in a natural. His hand is in an unnatural position. It literally comes off his hand. So I wonder, even if Tanaka doesn't score, if Taylor would have given the pen for it. I looked at it and I just threw the remote on the sofa. I was like, "Fuck this! For fuck's sake!" I was like, "You've done everything to get yourself back into it. You've given yourself every chance. You've defended up until the 90 fucking whatever minute, giving yourself every opportunity, and then a fucking bit. And it is, and I don't care what anyone says, it's a bit of fucking luck that fell Leeds' way, and they finished it. Fair play to them because they put the pressure on, and you buy a ticket, you get your price. They got their draw, and it's like, from a stats point of view, you look at it and you're like, look. They had 12 shots. We had 16. We had a couple of more on target. Game finishes 3-3. So,
can I throw you guys a bombshell? All right. So Fabrizio Romano has just come out from Mo Salah. Mo Salah's direct quote: "I can't believe it. I'm very disappointed. I've done so much for this club. Everyone can see that over the years, especially last season. To be on the bench, I don't know why. I feel like the club is throwing me under the bus. That's how I feel."
Well, that's once you start seeing quotes from players coming out through the red tops, then the manager's job is untenable.
Also, I get his frustration, but honestly, Mo, we could have done without this after today's game. I get he's frustrated, but also it's a weird phrase that the club are throwing me under the bus. Well, the club aren't it's not the club who aren't picking you. It's one clear person who doesn't want to pick you. It's a bit hard to take that with Mo, because I'm also a bit like, don't be funny, Mo. We all know you're a legend, but you haven't played well this year. Now, admittedly, here's arguing back with, well, he was Gakpo and he was quite a few others, and they're not being dropped for me. And I get that. That's probably where the frustration is from Mo. He's probably like, well, there are others who played just as bad as me, and they're still playing. But yeah, but like you said, Kev, when things aren't going well and you're the latest crisis club, which we are, all this sort of stuff comes out now. So,
do you want the rest of the quotes?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go on.
All right, let me grab those for you.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'll look over that Mo Salah interview because it's with a Norwegian TV channel. I don't even know why that's who he picked. But let me start from the beginning. So the first person that came out was Dominic Szoboszlai. So Dominic Szoboszlai came out and said, I don't know what happened after 2-0. I think that we thought the game was over, and we just made sure at the beginning of the game that this is the kind of game where you can never underestimate the team. Maybe after the penalty, they just had the momentum. We came back, which showed good reaction, but we conceded again from the set piece, which is not the nicest way. I don't know about maybe you're right, but after 2-2, we showed a great reaction and showed our mentality. We knew we made a mistake by letting them come back to 2-2, but I have nothing to say about the result. Dominic was asked on how much of a toll the bad run is taking on the dressing room. What is in the dressing room stays in the dressing room, he says. It's not for the public. Which is ironic given what just happened. We have to manage it. We have to find solutions. I can always come up with the opportunity on Tuesday or on the weekend again, but there are also times where you have to look at yourself. You have to go home and think if you did everything that was possible. And if the answer is yes, then we just keep going and the momentum will come. When asked if whether there is a champion team still in there, he says, it's a good question. It's hard to speak about it. Last year, we became champions. Now, I don't even know what position we are. Every team is doing well. Every team wants to win against the champions, and we knew that before the season as well. We have to find solutions. We have to show the reactions, and everybody has to take responsibility. Not always the old guys or the guys that have been here longer, but everybody. Everybody has to go on the pitch and show that they are ready to fight for this badge. He finishes, it's not easy when you don't win for a long time. At this club, we are not used to that. The only way that we can get out of this is together. So then Arne Slot comes out. Arne Slot says, there's a sense of disbelief. I think we played quite well almost to very well during large parts of the game and went 2-0 up. I don't think we had any problems, and I don't think that we conceded a chance until the moment that we made a foul, which wasn't even a chance. He continues, it's 2-1, and not many moments later, the first chance they had, it was 2-2. Then we go up, and you think we've done enough to win the game, and then a set piece leads to the 3-0, or the 3-3. Slot says, it's not about me, it's about us, it's about the fans. The players have worked so hard again and again, and to concede from a set piece, the 10th or 11th this season, if you concede so many, you cannot be higher up in the table than we are. The only ones to blame are us. We concede these chances. We do so much to create. On Konate, he said he tried everything to prevent the cross from coming. It's a mistake from hard work, from trying. There was contact, that's for sure. On his subs, he said, I took off Wirtz and Bradley. That was in relation to the amount of games they had after coming back from injury. On Mo Salah, he said, we were 2-0 up, 3-2 up at the moment. It was more about controlling the game. We didn't need a goal at that stage. I brought in Wataru Endo. He also brought in Isak. And then he says, on Konate's form, unfortunately for him, he does a lot of things well, but then he has been a bit too much at the crime scene. Today, it was a tackle that came from effort. He tried everything to block the cross. To go away with a 3-3, I don't think that's what we deserved. We conceded without the other team even having a chance. It's so difficult to play a game of football if you don't even concede a chance and it goes in. We can only look at ourselves because we are the ones that are doing it. That's the situation that we're in. On Mo Salah, he says, we have to accept the situation. The short-term future of Mo is that he goes to AFCON in a week's time, and we play Inter before that. He continues, let me see. Basically saying that he's seeing his team improving after a bad week. And he's seeing a fighting spirit from the team. But it's not enough.
No.
On the season as a whole, he says there's every reason to be positive. Maybe we have played 2 games where the other team has created more chances than us, but that's not what it's about. It's about scoring goals and it's about not conceding. He says, what I hope everyone sees is that these players are fighting really, really hard and combine that with good football. Again, today, we hardly conceded a chance and we conceded 3 goals.
Well, I've seen someone has transcribed what Mo said. Okay. We'll have to verify it first to make sure it's accurate. If this person's transcripted is accurate, it's very much him and the manager are fucking done.
I did see something along those lines, but let me see if I can. You guys chat for a little bit about this, and I'll
it was along the line.
clarify.
It was along the line of saying the
All right.
relationship.
Well,
was
let
broken.
Ashley get the translation.
Should we do
Pierce
our...
makes the points here. Mo is very publicly promoted as being part of the leadership group of the team. Those quotes are far worse for Slot than any result. We'll get to the transcript once Mo decides to come out, and if he's talked to Norwegian TV, then do you know what? I'm gonna bite my tongue for a bit because I need to digest what I think before I say something rash. But I think I wholeheartedly agree with every word that Dominic Szoboszlai said. What happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. Full stop. End of fucking quote. And you move on. If we'll see what comes out. But
yeah, I know what
ultimately, if this is if it's what I think it is, then the story and the narrative of today is going to shift massively over the next 24 to 48 hours. And the worst of it is Mo in a week, as Arne Slot says, Mo in a week is gone. You know, irrespective of what he thinks or what he thinks he's entitled to or what he thinks his role in the club is or isn't, he's not going to be there in a week. And in a week's time, when it's after the Brighton game, he's not there anymore. And whoever is left behind has to pick up the pieces.
All
Ashley,
of those
you anywhere
quotes are
there?
true.
Okay, do you want to go through? Do you want to go through them then?
Because they're pretty damning.
I'm gonna have to get the transcript. I was just listening to the actual interview itself.
Okay.
Because,
well, give us a summary of what he says.
So he basically says, I don't know what happened. It seems like someone at the club wants me gone, and I don't know who that is. He says that Slot and I had a really good relationship up until a point, and now we have no relationship whatsoever. He says, I feel like I'm getting thrown under the bus. So all of those things are true. It's Mo Salah, you can count on one hand the number of times Mo Salah has come out and spoken to the media. So usually there's this mix zone that they walk through. Yeah. And, 99 times out of 100, Mo Salah says, no, not today. You've heard this from other media sources. Yeah. When he decides to go, and the fact that he chose a Norwegian TV channel just means that he just went over to anyone that was there. This was a spur of the moment thing that he decided to speak out. He knows exactly how much player power he has. He knows that that's going to be a major spotlight on him. He knows that's going to overshadow the entire game. And I encourage everyone to go and listen to the interview itself. All of the quotes that are coming out that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he would have said that. He did say that.
Okay.
So it's big talk. It sounds, for me, it sounds a little bit entitled, a little bit spoiled brat-ish. Especially when you listen to the quotes that you just heard from Szoboszlai, where Szoboszlai says what happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. We need to fix this as a team. All of that, for Mo to come out and make this the Mo show, I don't like that whatsoever. And there's a reason why he's not the captain of this club, despite the fact he's an absolute legend. I don't want a word said against him for what he's done for the club, but there's a reason he's not the captain of this club.
Look at playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I believe this, but playing devil's advocate, Szoboszlai can come out and say, well, stays because he probably feels part of the plan. And if a man, it's quite damning for a player to come out and say, I have no relationship with the manager, which we knew when the last season was enjoyed. They had a really good relationship. They had a way of doing it. So, again, Ashley, you may have talked about, is it a question around how Slot's people management skills work? Because recently he hasn't been the best in the media with the pressure. The pressure does funny things to people. But as the way he's handled the situation, the pressure he's under with a senior player, has not gone down very well. Listen, I wouldn't expect Mo not to be happy to not be involved in 2 out of the 3 games. I wouldn't. He isn't playing very well. I could understand his frustration to a point. It's in terms of, I think there are other players who are playing just as poorly as Mo who are still getting minutes. So I can understand his frustration there, and he maybe does feel like a scapegoat. The time is shite. And I think that's the thing that stings, because you're like, things are shit enough as it is with how we're playing at the moment. Could do really without a bit of off-the-pitch drama. But I think you're right, Kev. I think when this sort of stuff comes out, it feels like a little bit of the long goodbye. Because you don't. But sorry, even when things were bad, well, I say bad, we had rough patches under Klopp. We had like that. The year after we won the title wasn't great. The following year when the penultimate year where we finished 5th, he didn't really have players coming out saying I've got no relationship with the manager or me and the manager fell out or anything like that. So there was none of really that sort of hint of that, was there? Which meant
this feels very Manchester United, though. This feels like player power when they want the manager out, where you have a player that thinks that they're bigger than the team. And again, I don't want to say anything about Mo Salah being he's one of, if not the best player I've ever seen play for this club. But this feels very Man United to me. If the quotes are on there, I'm just going to put the rest of them up.
Yeah.
The timing's shite. The time doesn't. Well, as a fan, it doesn't help you because you're just like going, that's the drama for the next month. That's the drama for next week now. That's all we'll talk about for next week. The next press conference, that's all we're talking about.
It's not going to be about any positives. It's not going to be about Salah. It's going to be about Mo Salah. So here, some of the direct quotes. We will see what happens. In my head, I will enjoy the game. It does not matter if I play or not. I will enjoy it. We will see what will happen. It's at Anfield. I don't know if that quote got cut off.
No, it's right. Say goodbye to the fans.
He says, say goodbye to the fans. Go to AFCON because I don't know what will happen when I'm there. And then he continues, it's not acceptable for me. I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't get it. I think if I'm someone else at the club would protect this player.
Right. Okay, I'll come back to that one in a sec.
Okay. He says, I don't know why I'm in this situation now. I've done so much for this club. I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I earned it. I'm not bigger than anyone. He says, I had a good relationship with the manager. All of a sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why. It seems to me that someone doesn't want me at the club.
Okay. Let me go back to this one. It's not acceptable for me. I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't get it. I think I'm entitled. I think if I'm someone else at the club, if the club would protect this player. Let me tell you something. From what I can gather, a week ago, he was dropped out the side last week. That's all that's happened. Up until then, he played every game. Bar a couple of games in Europe, he played every single game. So up until last week, he was playing fine. He's not started the last 3 games. If you look at it on merit over the last month, and you look at Szoboszlai in the same position, you're getting more out of Dom in that position for the team than you are out of Mo. That's just blatantly obvious. And if you have a problem with the manager, you rock up like a fucking grown-up to his office on Monday morning and you have it out with him in private. You do not go to a fucking Norwegian journalist and piss against the wind and throw your toys at the pram because you think you're fucking entitled to something because of your past record at the club. I don't know who the fuck you think you are to come out with that kind of a statement. It's an absolute joke for a senior player to throw everyone else under the bus. The players, the staff, everyone. Because he thinks he's entitled to start. On the strength of what? On the strength of what over the last month? If he had this level of performance and form 12 months ago, he is not getting a fucking new deal. Not in a cat in hell's chance. On the strength of what he did last season, he was offered a 2-year deal. And he signed the deal. And his form, like everyone else's, has dropped off through the floor. You put your head down and you fucking work your way back into the side. Do you not think that players like Federico Chiesa,
that's exactly what I was just thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
He comes into this.
He never gets a moment, and he works his fucking ass off.
He doesn't get a
30
chance.
seconds he's on the pitch.
He doesn't get a chance. He is a quality player. Gennaro Gattuso is asked left, right, and centre at every press conference, when are you going to pick him? When are you going to pick him? When are you going to pick him? Gattuso is telling Chiesa, get out of Liverpool. I want to pick you, but you need to play.
Mm-hmm.
All right? This is one of Italy's best forwards, all right? And he just fucking is. Go back 3 or 4 years ago, he's a 70, 80 million pound player.
Before the ACL he was,
Before his ACL injury, he is one of the top wingers in world football. He comes to Liverpool and he puts his head down and he fucking grafts and he gets nothing for it. And when he turns up and he crosses the line, he does his fucking best. All right. Mo's had a shit week. That's all he's had. He's had a shit week where he hasn't been picked and he probably hasn't been given an explanation as to why. If you need an explanation as to why, Dominic Szoboszlai is starting on the right because it gives us more defensive solidity.
He's outplaying you. That's it. Just from a pure sporting
it's as simple as that.
He's outplaying you. Like, I don't. At the end of the day, like,
I don't.
There are players that have a right to pick a bone with Slot. Mo Salah is not one of those players.
Yeah.
If Mo Salah was playing out of his skin and scoring goals left and right and center and got dropped out of nowhere, yeah, absolutely, these quotes would make sense. You've, for the first time in, let's see, I think since 2017, so almost a decade, for the first time that you've played 1 week without football. 1 week without football. There are players on that bench that haven't played all season. They haven't played in 2 seasons under Slot. He's had 3 games where the team has been suffering. Without a doubt, if you can't see that, you're fucking blind. And again, it's not about Mo being a legend. It's about nobody being bigger than the team itself. It's about all of the players understanding that this is a collective. It's like that. It's like the question that we asked last night. If you were watching our random show, there was a question. If you were in the F1 and you couldn't win a race, would you allow your opponent, or not your opponent, but your teammate to pass you and win the race? And it's for me, it's exactly the same as this, where it's, would you allow a player to take your position if you know it's going to give you a better opportunity to win? That's team play.
Listen, here's the things. And Yoko makes a point. Salah has 7 years credit in the bank, in fairness. He does. All right.
He does.
But I don't give a fuck about
it's the absolute timing of it.
I don't give a fuck about Mo Salah having a hissy fit and being pissed off. All right, totally get it. If you feel frustrated that you're not starting and you think you should,
go speak to the coach privately.
Go in Monday morning and you fucking have a word with him, and you go back into the dressing room and you fucking talk to him.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. All of the Liverpool journals are now retweeting this. Paul Joyce, everyone.
Yeah.
And it'll all go with the headline, relationship broken, Liverpool have thrown me under the bus.
Now,
what we don't know is, because it's not just Norwegian.
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, all right?
Exactly. And for all we know, behind the scenes, there could already have been this discussion. This could already have happened. And this is like, or maybe he's been told by Slot, don't give a fuck. You know, or he's been told by somebody at the club, I don't care, we want you gone. And he's gone, well, I'm going to get my side out. No, we don't know
this
that.
This is the thing. We don't know. And here's the thing.
That.
No, here's the thing.
His book comes out.
This is a real possibility here, and I'm just spitballing. Last week, Slot has been told, you've got a week to save your job.
Mm.
He decides, fuck it. If I'm going out, I'm going out swimming. Salah, you're dropped. You don't deserve to start. And on current form, fair enough. He doesn't. All right. And I don't think there's any argument to say that he does deserve to start. He fucking doesn't. Szoboszlai comes in, plays off that position, plays differently. You start seeing more out of Florian Wirtz. Szoboszlai gets his goal today, and it was defensive frailties from a set piece that cost us 3 points. Okay, nothing to do with any of the forward players for me. Is it a case that the manager and the players already know that a decision has been made and they're seeing it out? If that's true, there's still absolutely no fucking reason for Mo to come out and talk to the press in any way, shape, or form. You go into the manager, you go and talk to him privately, and you say, look, what the hell's going on? Our relationship is broken down. You're 30 odd years of age. If you had a problem with your boss, you go in and you pull him to one side and say, look, what the hell's going on? You're not going to go out in the factory floor and bawl your boss out because you think you're entitled to something. You just don't do it. And that's, for me, is the biggest no-no you can do in football. I hate it. I absolutely hate it more than anything when you see players talking out of turn. When you see players talking to the press, bad-mouthing. If you have something to say it in private. Right? Yeah. And it's as simple as that. Because all you've done now, you've made the manager's position untenable. You've made your own position untenable as well.
We don't know. It's one or the other, isn't it? We all know that.
I think it's both. I think it's both personally, because if it's the manager and they can the manager and someone else comes in, Salah's got to turn up. And he's got to turn up. Mo Salah of 12 months ago, on fire, scoring goals for fun, has to turn up. Otherwise, you're done. And
is this resolvable?
No.
For me, this is not. This is
I
either
think
Slot goes or Mo Salah goes. It's one or the other.
My gut feeling is I think Kev's spitball's probably not far off, which is Slot's be given a deadline of we need a certain level of performance / points total in the next so many games, or your position's untenable. I cannot believe the club haven't actually had feelers out for other managers just in case. And I think obviously he's got another route of bidding off Mo Salah. Now, what we don't know is how he's explained that. The way Mo tells it, not very well. The way Slot may have a different point of view. I'm thinking now, I'm like you, Kev. I just think this is final straw with the manager. When this comes out, the manager always carries the can. What I think Salah will have done now is if they do get rid of Slot and they bring in a new manager, he's got to have a big 6 months on his hand, because I think that's what they'll say is, right, okay, I'm the new manager. I'll give you time. I'll trust you. Like Slot said at the beginning of the last season, you better deliver. And if you don't deliver, I'm sure Edwards and Hughes, who are apparently very clinical, will say to someone, for $400K a week, we expect this level of performance and this level of output. If we don't get that, you will be sold in the summer.
Well, there's someone in the chat, ACDC, you're in here a lot and you're a regular listener. You're saying blaming Salah for Hughes and Slot's faults and for Liverpool's poor form is abysmal. Is that what we're doing?
When have we blamed Salah for Liverpool's abysmal form and performance? We haven't.
We've got all of them. We're talking about these quotes directly. I don't think we're saying, he caused Liverpool to lose today. He wasn't even on the pitch.
No. One thing I will say though, one thing I will say is Mo Salah's performances this season have been poor.
He's not the only one, but
he's not the only one, but they have been poor. And at the end of the day, if Mo Salah could play on the left, there's every chance you could have turned around and says, right, you're starting ahead of Gakpo on the left. And that would have been fine. But when Szoboszlai is doing a job on the right, and he's doing a job, he's absolutely fine on the right. And if you want to get Szoboszlai and Wirtz into the same 11 and keep 2 6s, the only place you can play Szoboszlai is left or right. He can do both. But the manager's made the decision to play him on the right. You're a professional fucking player. And Zet makes the point, if anyone has a right to speak out, it's not. No, he fucking doesn't. No player has a right to come out and talk shit.
Not like that. So you can come out and you can speak. Again, they're all media trained. They're media trained to the nth degree.
Exactly.
There are certain things that you come out you can say. If Mo Salah wants to come out and say, I'm disappointed with my position on the bench, I'm working hard to improve, I'm together with the team and we're all pulling forward, cool, that's fine. He has the right to go out and say that. He doesn't have the right to go out and stir the pot like this. That's, for me, again, he's probably going to get a fine. He's probably going to be completely disjointed from all the players now, where they're all going to listen to this quote back or this interview back, and he's going to be the odd man out. It's causing a rift in the dressing room itself. It's causing, this team is already under pressure. He just put more pressure on this team with that interview is what he did. That wasn't a productive interview. That was as Megan says, that was a messy thing. And that's why I'm saying it feels very much like the end of a reign of a manager at a Man United. We are not a Man United club. That's not how this club operates. It's not how we expect our players to operate. We had a no dickhead policy. That's a dickhead move.
Yeah. The question you want to ask Mo is, because, and again, I can maybe miss this. This could be because I'm maybe being a bit naive. When he says, want to put me under the bus, which bit does he want to, which part's put him under the bus? Is it just that he's been dropped while they're in this poor form and he thinks that's putting him on the bus? Or does he feel
manager has said nothing but positive
Or does he feel there's been things leaked in the media which is going against him? Now, listen, I will say one thing for Hughes and Edwards. They do like to talk to the media. And what I will say to Hughes and Edwards, they did too much talk in the summer about Jurgen Klopp, about how Jurgen Klopp managed transfers and how they're going to do it better. Because if we're being honest, lads, the way the season it's looking not best. And I perhaps would have done a little bit of talk less. But I've not seen like a like a Salah hit article. You see it was come up with other clubs, and I'm sure Liverpool have done it in the past. Would they do a hit job on a player that they don't like or they want to get rid of? But I've not seen that. All I've seen is big news: Mo Salah dropped. Well, and it will be big news. It'll always be big news when Mo Salah dropped because he's a Liverpool legend. He's our highest paid player. Last season he was our best player by a fucking mile.
Yeah.
So the bit I don't get is the throw me under the bus line because I'm like, I haven't seen like a hit article or I haven't seen the manager come out and slag you.
He hasn't.
That I'm aware of.
I mean, the last quote that Arne Slot had about Mo Salah being benched is, "It's never an easy decision because we all know what a great player he is. But it's also up to me to pick the team I think we need today. That's why I made the decision."
Okay, I'll just bring this one up because this comment's come up.
It's come up a few times.
So I don't think people think I'm ignoring it. I just don't get it. He says, "Where were you guys when Jordan Henderson strung on the club into a big fat contract? No one said anything." And he also made a mark say because he's not English.
This is a long time ago, but we absolutely talked about the fact that we thought that Hendo's legs were gone and that the contract was not necessarily a good idea.
But we said
we thought that Klopp showed
loyalty.
too much loyalty to Henderson. And then within about a year of Henderson getting that contract, you saw his legs fall off. And we all kind of said that was a bad call. And that kind of goes back to the days of the backroom staff of FSG making poor calls, where a lot of times Klopp was given a little bit too much power and he kept players for too long. So we absolutely talked about that on this channel.
Whereas last summer, when Mo made a big play, and he did make a play in the media for more money in his new contract. But to be fair to Mo Salah last year, he was hitting the numbers, the goals, the assists. He set records. He was a big driver to Liverpool winning the title. So when he got a new contract, as did Virgil van Dijk, everyone went, happy days. They both performed. They both led the club to a title. Is there a risk his legs might fall off next year? There is, but you know what? We all went, it's worth the risk because it didn't look like they would. I'm not saying Mo Salah's legs have fell off this summer. He hasn't played well though. Now, why is that? There could be many reasons. It could be Father Time, as Kev always talks about, catches up with everyone. It could be the situations off the pitch. It could be the new tactical setup and the new players. It isn't getting the best out of Mo. We don't know. So I kind of feel like you're comparing apples with oranges there, my opinion. Because I kind of always felt everyone never felt the Mo Salah deal was a bad deal. It made sense. I think if he'd gone in the summer, I think a lot would have been after the club if he'd lost them.
Yeah, so, I don't know. It does feel a little bit like grasping at straws.
There we go.
The one thing
let's just put the follow up. Yeah, the Henderson used the media the same way at the same time, and there was no reaction. Well, there was because we all said
because we all said I encourage you to go back and listen to
because we all said we all said bullshit that Atletico Madrid were after him, but B, Henderson used the media to force his move to Qatar
and his agent was to
the Saudi league.
Yeah.
And we all said the way he left the club, we all said was shite, and we all pulled him up for the way he tried to manipulate the media because he felt he should have been started, and we all said no, you shouldn't.
The one thing I'll say about this there's a big difference. There's a big difference between using the media to engineer a contract situation. That's one thing. That's a different thing. Everybody.
Mo Salah does that.
Every player does that.
Every player does that.
Every player does that, and they manipulate the media, and they manipulate the narrative. They manipulate the fans. Mo did it. Virgil did it. Henderson did it. Every player tries to do it. That's football. That's the business of the game. My problem is when you come out and say what he said tonight. Either a decision has been made on the manager, and we're just waiting for it now, which is highly likely, or he has decided to jump ship himself and he wants to engineer a move while he's at AFCON to get away, which is entirely possible. We don't know. And none of those two things are mutually exclusive. It could be the two things happen, and that's just the way it is. Ultimately, Mo Salah is still on the Mount Rushmore of Liverpool Football Club, without any question, without any doubt whatsoever. But the fact of the matter is,
if it ends like this, I will be very sad.
Yeah, it's been a week.
The ending.
It was a week ago against West Ham when he was dropped. That's all. And if he seems to believe that his relationship with the manager broke down after he came on at halftime the other night. He came on the other night at home. So there obviously is a relationship there. But whatever has happened has happened. And for me, the only thing that I'm really fucked off about is the fact that you come out in the public and talk about it. This isn't a contract situation. This is the manager is throwing me under the bus. The club is throwing me under the bus. I'm getting blamed left, right, and centre for everything, which is not the case. It's not the case.
But what we both said is, Kev, and again, we don't know because publicly we said we don't think this is the case. We just don't know behind the scenes what probably of us could have been bubbling up for weeks. But again, it's kind of like you only see what it's like a magician. You only see what they allow you to see. So we don't know the full story of what's going ins and outs and all that sort of things.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're just. I think here's the thing: there's the reaction show for the reaction extra on Patreon isn't going to be tonight. It's going to be, I'd imagine, tomorrow or Monday. But tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, Gav will be here with the usual lot, and they will not go through the game. I'm sure by tomorrow night, the media this story will have moved. And be here tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, you'll get the reaction from the lads who are going to be here to talk about it right the way through. This is all literally dropping.
This is our live, real life reaction to what's going on. Which is,
exactly.
Obviously why the chat's kind of going a little bit, or our whole show's going a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's gone ski whiff. But at the end of the day, it's like, we've been on here now for like an
hour and a half.
An hour and 35 minutes, and my dinner is going into the microwave, and I fucking hate microwave dinners.
Speaking of your dinner.
Oh, yes.
Go. Can we have a quick chat just to kind of, I don't know, make up for the fucking shit show that we're dealing with here?
I have.
So Kev is having lasagna. And if you are a longtime listener of this channel, you know that lasagna is an ongoing debate in this channel. So for a little bit of fun, as we close out, Kev, what are your sides that are going with your lasagna?
I have got my wife has made a beautiful homemade lasagna.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I am jealous. I can generally say I'm quite jealous. That's
garlic bread,
some
chunky chips, and some coleslaw.
What the fuck?
What is on? I'm having coleslaw on my lasagna, and that's that.
If you're really perplexed by this conversation, I'm going to suggest that you hit that button over there and check out our Patreon, because this is what we talk about on our Patreon when we are trying to kind of get over losses with the Reds and just kind of keep our sanity. So if you want to talk about other things besides just Liverpool, we do talk about Liverpool. And we will continue to talk about Liverpool and shitty refs and things like that. But if you want some random chat, that's over there as well. It helps out our community. And we also have NordVPN, which we haven't really talked about that often. So I want to make sure that we touch on them. They do sponsor our videos as well. And I don't know, maybe we could get some sort of help from NordVPN to kind of block out this fucking season.
You could maybe use NordVPN
to watch something else.
To watch anything else
the Norwegian interview.
Liverpool.
Yeah,
maybe you can watch the Norwegian interview live from the Norwegian television channel, because I'm sure that they were thrilled to get this interview.
They're fucking made up.
This is going to make the entire station.
Yeah, the link is in the description. Now, Pierce, I'm going to ask this actually. Pierce,
it's a good question.
Ask the question. Ashley, Kev, Chris, if a large number of the squad come out and support tomorrow, does that change your opinion?
To support
if they
Mo
all
Salah?
Point the finger at Slot, what then?
I would be very, very disappointed if our squad did that. Like I said, it looked like Man United when Salah did it. If the whole squad does it, it's going to look even more like Man United. I want this done behind closed doors. I don't want this done in public. I don't want to be that kind of club.
If the whole squad do it, look, the manager's done. He's done. I'd be surprised if the rest of if a lot more of the squad did it. But if they did, then things have gone bad really quickly. I mean, the other question is, what if most squad come out the other way and back the manager? That makes that puts Mo in a really precarious position. So it's big. It's like big game brinkmanship. This,
yeah, exactly. I fully expect there to be absolute, complete, total radio silence from the club. Full stop. I expect somebody to say something to Pierce or Ornstein or Joyce, probably Ornstein or Joyce, refuting or backing the manager in the next, I'd say by tonight. Some way, shape, or form, addressing Salah's issue. If they completely ignore it, I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't think they can. I don't think a senior player like Mo coming out and saying what he says in the manner of what he says, how he says it. I don't think the club can ignore it. I don't think the club can let.
Mo Salah is a chess player, and this is his checkmate move.
Yeah,
he does it all the time. Like he waits and waits and waits, and he knows that this is a really inopportune moment for the manager and for the club to deal with this. He knows that the club is in a really sticky situation. He knows it's not a good time, but he's doing this, in my opinion, for himself.
Yeah, I'd be honest, right? I think if he stopped, I think he'll have gone through the mix zone. He'll have gone into the dressing room. There'll be war in the dressing room, I guarantee it. And then
they have to drive all the way home.
No, and then when the players leave, he'll be talking to the written press, or if he wants to stop, he'll talk to the written press who are outside. If he doesn't, and it means that he's specifically had this in mind to go to a Norwegian broadcaster, Jan Åge Fjørtoft, I'd imagine, to say this, it was pre-planned. The only thing I will say is during the game, I said it to you both, I didn't see Salah stand up and warm up once.
He didn't. And, if you look at him in the other game as well, you had him completely bundled up where, like, he was just showing his eyes. He was, like, kind of moping in the corner. His body language has been off for a few days.
But that gives you you don't know it's for definite, but does that almost like mean the manager's almost said to him, yeah, you're on the bench, you're not coming on?
Possibly.
Which
we don't know. This is the thing. This is why
if that's true as well, that'd be a bit like that's a real breakdown with player management. If a manager's come out and says to a player, you ain't even getting on the pitch, because in that case, why don't put him on the bench?
Well, I can look. Look, I'm sure this will all get discussed.
It's all going to keep going.
The top two trends on Twitter: Mo Salah, and that's going to be global, and Klopp. I've made my feelings on Klopp potentially coming back.
I can't see it.
I cannot see a world where he gives up the job that he wants to do this on a temporary measure, when he talked about how he is enjoying life and enjoying being away from the day-to-day of football. I can't see it, but look, we'll see. Guys, I can't add anything much.
7.5 minutes long, so if you haven't watched it, I encourage you to.
Apparently, there's a Carragher quote. There's a Carragher quote as well. I don't know if that's Mo going at Carragher or Carragher going at Mo.
It just goes on and on and on. I mean, Mo Salah comes out and he says, I called my mum and dad and told them to come to the Brighton game. It doesn't matter if I play or not. I'm going to enjoy it just to be at Anfield to say goodbye before the African Cup of Nations, because I don't know what's going to happen when I get there. Like, it just continues.
Well, join the dots.
Yeah.
Join the dots. That's me. Come and see me for my last game at Anfield. I'm leaving.
He goes on. He says,
I'm leaving.
So much for this club. I love the fans so much. I love the club. I don't know what's next. I'm scoring more than anyone in this generation since I came to the Premier League. Yes. I don't think anyone else has scored more. Can I give an example? It's silly. Harry Kane wasn't scoring for 10 games. Maybe he got 1 or 2. Everyone in the media was like, oh, Harry will score for sure. Now it's Mo needs to be on the bench. He says, I don't know if someone wants me out. Don't put words in my mouth, please. It's how it feels. I asked, but don't see an explanation. I knew I wasn't going to play. I just take it. I swallow it. Arne Slot told me yesterday. I had a meeting yesterday. He knows my feelings. When asked if he regretted signing a contract extension, he says, how bad? I have to answer that. Even the question hurts. I will never regret signing for this club. I thought I was signing and ending my career here. Now, this is not according to the plan. In my head, why should it end this way? 5 months ago, I was winning awards. Now, why go in this direction? Everyone in this team is not in this form, but I am one who has to defend himself. There is no relationship with Slot. It was very good. Now there's nothing. I don't feel let down by my teammates. These guys know how much I love them and how much I support them. There's much love between us.
there's definitely more going on behind the scenes.
There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what we've been told.
That comment is not just because it's been dropped for a couple of games. That definitely says to me something's been rumbling on behind the scenes for a little while.
Yeah.
And possibly him being dropped has been the straw that's brought the camels back for his.
It's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up. This cannot.
So watch this space.
Yeah, this cannot. One thing I will say.
Hit the bell icon because there might be a reaction show coming.
If anything happens, by hook or by crook, someone will go live. We will do something.
Yeah, we'll chat about it. If anything crazy happens, we will have a reaction. So turn on the notification bell if you haven't. But yeah, I mean, it's James Pearce calls it an astonishing attack on Liverpool, and he's not wrong.
It is. I mean, the thing is, everyone's going to have their say. I think. Yeah. Game of Thrones at Anfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite.
All right.
Well, all right, guys, come on.
I thought we were going to have, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be a good show.
I didn't think it was going to go
be this eventful. But yeah, I encourage everyone to go and watch that interview for themselves. Yeah. I'm going to go watch the whole thing in full. ESPN has all of the quotes as well, if you'd like. But it's all over Twitter. So yeah, we're going to go do that. And yeah, we'll be back if there's any sort of other breaking news. Sorry, we do not do a 24-hour stream. We need to have lasagna and sleep and do other things, but we will be here. I'd like to thank Chris. I'd like to thank Kev so much for coming on, even after kind of that shitty result. There's no man of the match. There's no honorable mention. The Reds just need to improve overall, and we will continue to kind of come on here, chat about it, and hope for the best. But my fucking God, is that hard work. Kev, can you take us out for the evening? Thank you, everyone in the chat. We'll see you guys later. Bye.